One of the things that's been mentioned is the 5-on-5 game a little bit of late. Maybe hasn't been at the standard that you guys were at earlier this year, but your line certainly seems to be back playing the way that it was. So are you kind of the standard bearers for this hockey club when it comes to playing the 5-on-5 game the right way?
I think that's a two-part question, but okay. So the first part, I think we can agree the 5-on-5. Especially the last two, it hasn't been what we expect out of ourselves. I think we were a lot better in the third period against Mini, and same with the first period. I think it was a little lackadaisical second period, just puck management, uncharacteristic turnovers, some bad changes by us, and things like that really led to the opportunities that they got. And same with Calgary. Calgary, our gap, we were a little slow. We weren't playing that high pressure game that we expect of ourselves, and when we're really defending well, we're taking away a lot of time, taking away a lot of space, really good sorts on the rush. There's not a lot of time coming through the neutral zone, and we kind of got away from that. And so, we've watched some video, and I think moving forward, we can expect to get back to that level that we had been at for, the longest time. It's tough playing that way, but that's the commitment to our structure. That's the commitment we've made, and that's what we expect out of this group, and we're going to strive for perfection. I know Bones mentioned it's an imperfect game, and there's going to be mistakes and things like that, and other teams are going to get chances, but it's all about how many chances you can minimize, how many chances you're not giving away for free, and that's going to be continue to be a work in progress for us, and it's going to be a challenge for us tomorrow against Chicago. And then the second part of your question about how our line's been playing, I think Calgary, we kind of throw that one out. I would say every line was off, but I thought last game we got back to the forecheck. We were able to create some chances, turning pucks over, getting them to the slot. I think earlier in the year when we were generating offense, when we were chipping in with goals, we were getting the pucks to the slot a lot more. We weren't just deferring low to high, and sometimes low to high is the safe play, but you also have to force the pucks into the slot, get pucks to the net, and that's where a lot of the goals, our line scores. Appy made a great shot, but there was a lot of other opportunities that we were able to create, with a second man quick coming in on the forecheck. And I think the biggest thing was how we handled Eric Sinek, coming off a 6-point night, him and Kaprizov, and for the most part I thought we did a really solid job staying above them, not really allowing them kind of that time and space, them to get below the goal line, and Kaprizov to use his creativity. And if we're not chipping in offensively, that's an area where we have to be really strong, and hopefully we can do both here coming down the stretch.
And just to backtrack, you mentioned Chicago. You've picked up 5 out of 6 points, and I think you played well against them. But man, they have been difficult, haven't they?
Yeah, there's no easy game in this league. You look at the games against San Jose. They've all been 1-2 goal games, right? You look at the games against Chicago, we beat them 2-1 the other night, or not the other night, about a month ago, and we scored 2 in the last 6 minutes. And even in Chicago, when they beat us 2-1 in overtime, coming out of the Christmas break, we felt like, for the most part, we carried the play. We had a lot of great chances. Mrazek made some great stops, but you allow teams to hang around, you allow scrappy teams to stick in it, and a couple pucks on Bedard's stick and they're off before you know it, the game's over. So I think we have to approach this the same way we approached the Minnesota game, and that's that hard forechecking pressure style that we're able to create turnovers, create zone time, and that leads into our transition game, that leads into us creating off the rush. But I think our foundation of our game is that North game where we're able to get pucks back that we have to give up. We're really backtracking. We're not giving them a lot of space through the neutral zone to make those east-west plays. That's where we got in trouble against Calgary. So, we're looking forward to the challenge, and hopefully we can get on a roll here.
Just in terms of your record against the Central, obviously those games are critical. But you look back at last year, 18-8. This year so far, 13-3-1. I think is what you guys are at after last night. Just how much pride do you take in your guys' ability to get points, especially against divisional opponents?
I think it's critical playing well in your division. I know with the added teams now, we don't have as many divisional games as we used to, but you're still playing most of these teams 4 times, and those are big swings. You know, if you just look at Minnesota, we've gone 3-0 against them. If that's the other way, the gap is a lot tighter. It can come down to being the difference in seeding. It can come down to being the difference in squeaking into the playoffs or not. So every point's critical, I think, within your own division. Especially standings-wise, when you're chasing teams, it's the quickest way to gain ground on them. So we've been ready for the most part playing against divisional opponents, and we're really looking forward to the game tomorrow night.
In the last 3 games, you got Vancouver, top team in the league, and you guys play one of your best games. Not so much against Calgary, and you bounce back a bit against Minnesota. I know it shouldn't matter who you play, but does it? As far as motivation comes into play?
No, I don't think it's necessarily the motivation. That's where the execution was lacking, right? Like, we go into Vancouver, and there's an energy in the building, and it's 2 top teams really kind of fighting for position out there. It was a physical game, and I think the emotion started to build throughout that game. There was a couple big hits on either side, and we go into Calgary, and the power play starts clicking, but we were just sloppy. I think that's where the execution. It's not that we weren't ready to play. I think we have to give them some credit too. They were quick. They were great in transition. That gave us some trouble. They hit late guys coming into the zone a lot, uncharacteristic mistakes. And then Minnesota, kind of the next night, is we have to rebound. We have a rivalry with them for sure, but I think regardless of who we were playing, we were expecting a response from that Calgary game. And so I think it's not who the opponent is. You might point out to the close games against Chicago and San Jose, but I think for the most part, we've played very well against most teams. There's only been a handful of games where we've struggled. I think sometimes optically it looks like we haven't played as well just because we haven't scored as many goals in some of those games. So the games have been really tight. But I expect us to kind of have a fast start tomorrow. Get to our team's identity and hopefully get another win.
How much do you have your sights set on the division title, or does that not really enter the picture?
You know what? To be honest, I look at the standings, but I more so look at the playoff line, right? Like, awareness of where we are and who we're chasing. Obviously, you want to continue kind of climbing the standings. I think home ice is super important. You can get your matchups, sleep in your own bed, things like that. But at the same time, I think we're just trying to put ourselves in the best position so when we get into the playoffs, we can go on a run. We don't want to be one and done, right? So, I think, we know where Colorado and Dallas are. We know where Vancouver's in the standings. We know where we are. I think, we just can't get so caught up in, you just have to keep pushing for first and, just focus on the result. I think, all year we've talked about the process, the structure of our team, and, if we can get that down consistently, the standings, winning games, that'll take care of itself.